Hello, I'm Kathleen Benoit, host of Living Well in Montana, a program that is made possible by Living Independently for Today and Tomorrow, LIFTT. LIFTT is a nonprofit organization that is headquartered in Billings and is serving Montanans living with disabilities in an 18-county area of southeastern Montana. Today's topic is one of my favorites, success stories. In all the bad news and all the climate change and the fires, here we go with success stories. It's good news. And I am delighted to welcome back two people that we have interviewed here in the very beginning of our programs. And so I'm glad to introduce Tonya Thomas, who is a peer coordinator, and Gaustad, who is a peer team member.
Yeah, LIFTT team member, yeah.
Welcome. So happy that you're here, and we are really pleased to have you talking about the good things that are going on in your lives. Oh. So I'm going to first talk to Tonya, and before we jump into the good things, give us a little background on you, where you grew up, your hobbies, what makes you you.
I grew up mostly in various parts of Wyoming, mostly Sheridan, Wyoming. I graduated from Sheridan High School, and I moved up here, must be 14 years ago now. My things I enjoy is art, music, writing, books, those kind of things.
And you do the coordination for the LIFTT peers, is that correct?
Yes, I am the peer coordinator at LIFTT.
And can you explain that? There might be viewers that aren't sure what a peer coordinator does.
Well, the peer program, what a peer coordinator does is manage the tasks and the duties of the peers. What the peer program is at LIFTT is a stepping stone for someone living with a disability to come in and gain some skill sets and some training and some confidence to feel a sense of empowerment so they can go out into the community and be an active member in their community, whether that's work, whether that's involving themselves with community activities, those kind of things. Okay. I'm there, and the peer program is there to empower them to move on to bigger and better things.
You know, and I think the more I get to know the LIFTT organization, there are usually more than one person that's backing up these people living with disabilities that have come to LIFTT for help. Is that correct?
There are
a team sometimes?
We are, we all work with each other and help each other meet our consumers' needs, and we find it works so much better when we take advantage of the skill sets and the strengths that we have as a team to help that consumer get the things that they need.
Well, this is going to bring me over to Garrett, because you started out as a part of the peer mentoring. Is that correct?
Yes. How it all started was when it came to me coming to LIFTT, I came through there through a person named Martha Carstensen, and I started on November 4th, 2009, which was on a Wednesday, and I started out as an office assistant by helping people do their stuff out, by helping people do certain tasks and being the right hand man, and then all of a sudden, I became a peer.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, let's back up a little bit too, and let me ask you about prior to becoming a peer. Talk a little bit about your background. Where did you grow up?
I was born in Columbus, and then I lived a little while in Absarkee until I was 6 years old. And then I ended up moving to Billings, Montana, because they didn't have very good school services over in Upstorky, so they had better services for schooling in Billings. Yeah.
And what about hobbies? What do you like to do?
I like to memorize people's birthdays. I like studying things like sciences, maths, and one of the sciences I like is meteorology.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
And I do love it that you memorize people's birthdays. I've
do.
heard you don't forget any that once you hear them.
Well, there's times there's a smidge of the time I might forget people's birthdays, but on average it's considered that I don't forget it at all.
Oh, that's great. What a gift.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to swing back to Tanya for a minute, and let's talk about your success stories. I already know it, so I'm going to kind of give you a little push and say, talk about your artwork, for example.
So I started drawing in high school and found that I had an aptitude for it, and that was the only advanced class I ever had was an art class.
This is very interesting because what is your disability?
I am visually impaired. I have an eye disease called ROP. It stands for retinopathy of prematurity. What that means is because I was born prematurely, that the retina part of my eyes was not fully developed. It's a congenital disease, and it can lead to total blindness. I'm in stage 4 of the disease, and there are 5 stages, but I've been stable in the disease for several years.
And yet you are an artist.
Yes, I try.
And talk a little bit about the high school experiences and what that led to as far as the types of art you were doing.
So I mainly do portraiture. I like landscape, but I have mainly done portraiture. And I use a gridding technique for accuracy. So I find a picture of what I'm going to draw, and I put a grid on that picture of 1 inch by 1 inch across the whole page. And then I have somebody help me grid, say, an 18 by 24 piece of paper, and they grid the same way, only bigger, on a bigger scale. And then I just draw what I see in each square. I break it down and draw it's like putting a puzzle together. I draw what I see in each smaller square, and then I have accuracy that direction. And then I shade and color.
And you liked to do portraitures of athletes and actors,
yes,
is that correct?
Yes. I've done John Wayne and Paul McCartney and Wayne Gretzky, the hockey player, Pete Rose, the baseball player, and I did a picture of my father. I've only, oddly enough, done
Love that.
men. I know.
And MacGyver.
And MacGyver. I did forget about Richard, yes.
I can't remember his full name.
Richard Dean Anderson.
Thank you. And he actually, you met him in person, is that
I
correct?
I did. I got to meet him in 1992 at a celebrity hockey game in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I got to present the picture to him.
It's wonderful. I was second guessing you, though. I'm not sure that is your success story. In my mind, that is an incredible success. Did you want to go on about what inspired you to continue your art?
It's just, I haven't picked up a pen for a while. I think sometimes life gets in the way. But what I love is I actually had somebody reach out to me that I sold a piece of artwork to decades ago. They reached out to me on Facebook and wanted to know how I was doing.
Recently?
Yes.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes. So that was a very nice, it made me feel really good. And then to be able to tell them that I'm doing what I'm doing now, that I'm working in human services and that I'm advocating for people with disabilities, it kind of almost is a full circle kind of thing. It was wonderful. It's pretty gratifying.
You found your home, I think, with working with people with disabilities and easing their lives.
I think so.
Garrett,
Yeah.
so can you talk a little bit, are you comfortable to talk a little bit about your disability?
Absolutely. I do have Asperger's syndrome, which is now called high functioning autism.
Mm-hmm.
I also have it's not direct schizophrenia, but it's called indirect schizophrenia because I have it through through a abnormal hemoglobin synthesis called pyro disorder. Is what it's called.
What helped you get along when you were struggling with your disability, whether it was in school or in society? Did you have some difficulties before you started working with LIFTT?
Well, with my psychosis back in high school, I used to have a lot of breakdowns and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
It is tough. Yeah.
How did you get involved with LIFTT? Did someone say, check this group out, or how did you find them? It was through a person named Martha Carstensen that my mom was once really good friends with. So that's how I got to And
LIFTT.
how long ago was that?
It was like about a dozen years ago.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow. And so your success story, talk about what helped you get to a point where you felt like you'd succeeded, you'd overcome some things.
My princess help. The treatment they provide me with, like I remember when I was diagnosed with schizophrenia. Me and my mom traveled to Chicago for some good treatment, and that's really helped a lot.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And now you are an employee part-time of LIFTT. Is that correct?
Part-time employee, correct? Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about your job?
I do billing, which I like to do. I have done scanning before, but since the scanning's done in a later time, that I don't do the scanning. So, but at my free time, I help people. I help people out with their stuff, and I also let's see. I also I work for a person by the name of Diane in the financial department.
I know her well.
Oh, you do? Nice.
Yeah.
Doing inventory stuff like I like for tracking the budget for LIFTT.
And you like that?
I do love it a lot.
I bet you do.
Yeah.
What would you tell someone who might be struggling and needs some kind of inspiration? Would you have advice to somebody with a disability, how they could be better?
Well, the advice I would give them is to ask help from people and from their parents, and do some research under disability by learning the etymology of the word. Yeah.
That's good advice. That's really good
really
advice.
Good advice. Yeah.
I know that a lot of people I've spoken with say, don't let the disability be who I am.
Right.
I'm a painter. I'm really good with numbers. And I think that's really great advice of yours. Back to you, Tanya, with the peer meetings that you host once a week. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. Do you see a change as people that are really seeking help as they continue to come to meetings? Do you see a change in their attitude and their outlook?
I do. I see a change in their comfort level. I see a change in their sense of belonging. They know they have a place to come where they can talk, where we all have stories to share. We all have our experiences, and I feel them, they grow in their sense of belonging and their sense of inclusion. And that's really gratifying to know that, you can, and that's what I would tell, anybody that is struggling with their disabilities, to reach out for people with experiences like yours, and seek out those peers, seek out those people You're not alone.
And how, walk us through a little bit, how would one do that? If say somebody's watching this program and their child or their neighbor's husband or somebody is struggling with a disability, how would they find you?
So if you know somebody that's struggling with a disability, we are online. We are in the phone book. They would call our main office number, which is 259-5181, and they would speak with the front desk, and then the front desk would pass on their call to what we call an independent living specialist. That specialist would call them and speak to them and learn about what their needs are and what services they're looking for. And then they would start a case with them so that they can find out everything that LIFTT would be able to do for them.
Wow. Is that a quick process, or does it take some time to fill out forms and take care of all the paperwork?
It is there is paperwork.
But they get help on that.
Absolutely.
As well.
What we say is, we're about independent living, and this is your journey, and we will help you do all the things that you need to do to make, to meet the needs that you have. And we're there to help you and guide you. So yes, paperwork to get started. And then if there's something you need, like equipment or something you need to maybe have grant money for, then we would help you apply for grant money. If there's equipment you need or home modification that you need, we help you in that process.
Sometimes I feel that LIFTT is one of Billings's or Montana's biggest secrets. It seems like there's so many people out there that could benefit, and yet people that I talk to sometimes say, "Oh, never heard of it, never heard of it." I know that it's programs like this that really help get the word out. Garrett, I'm going to go back to you after listening to what Tonya did with talking about the peer mentoring and getting comfortable. Did you find that to be a good way to get to know LIFTT and to understand everything you could do to be be a happier, better person?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've been there 12 years, is that correct?
Nearly.
Nearly 12 years. What would you like to see in your future? Do you want to become the executive director of LIFTT, or do you want? Are you happy with working in billing? And
yeah, I'm really happy doing billing, and I remember these two people that work at LIFTT, Steve Ordered and Frida saying I could be the leader of the PCA department one of these days.
Well, that's a good ambition. That's really good. Can you talk a little bit about the PCA program?
The PCA program, it's a self-direct program.
Personal care assistant, is that right?
Personal care attendant.
Attendant, okay.
Yeah, and it's also known as a PAS or the Personal Assistant Services Program. Yep. And there used to be this other thing I used to do. We do all these timesheets called SCRs that we do check, and I entered those into the billing tool. I used to do something called Blue Books, where I used to write in the data, write the number of units, but we no longer do that anymore because we have a new way of doing it now.
It's computerized?
Computerized, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, though. I love the Blue Book.
I do, yeah, too.
It gives me more satisfaction than when I push a button on a computer, but that's the way it is. So let's talk a little bit about some of the activities that the peer programming includes. It's not just a bunch of counseling or passing on uplifting things, but it's also, there's some fun things that go on.
There are some fun things that go on. The online peer support group hosts events, usually maybe once a month, once every 6 weeks, depending on the season. We actually have an online Halloween party that's coming up on October 28th, where we're going to wear costumes and we're going to play games and do some trivia and award some prizes. And we generally try to do that. We recently had a movie event where we screened the movie Crip Camp. We're going to be starting that more often.
Great.
And I'd like to do the movies more. So yeah, those are the kind of things that we like to host. It's a great way of doing outreach and a great way of letting people know who we are, and of just having a place to have fun, and also talk about some issues, about living in the disability community. So,
and I'm sure that's extremely helpful as well. Before 2020, this was all done face to face. You met in a big room, and you had all these people with you, and now it's social distancing, or as LIFTT did, completely virtual.
We did, yes.
You Zoom on everything.
Yes, we do.
Has that been hard on some of your peers to not have that face-to-face?
It has. We definitely miss it. I know the peers miss it. The staff misses it. We have held classes and we have done the activities virtually, and it's good. It's just not quite the same. Yeah. We're all excited about a time when we can get together and do these things in person. But we really made the virtual thing work. We really tried to meet consumers the best we can virtually. And for those of them that have that access, it seems to be really great.
Garrett, has the pandemic affected your work in the billing department? Is it having to do everything virtually, or do you work face to face with people?
I've worked face to face. There was a time where I wasn't coming to work for a while, just because the pandemic got that worse. Yeah.
Yeah, it's changed a lot of things. I've almost gotten to prefer Zoom sessions because I can keep my pajamas on.
Well, I can't do that, but true. I hope we stay in that format. I do like that. Yeah,
that's the pandemic affected a lot. I'm sure had a greater impact on many people living with disabilities. It's been hard on everybody, but I'm sure you've seen some difficulties of people who are feeling isolated. Or
it has.
The film project was well received. I'm aware of that because I was hoping to attend, but I couldn't. But I do. It pleases me to hear that people are starting to show some interest in getting together virtually, whether it's for talking together or counseling or having a good time.
Right.
And so I'm hoping Halloween, October 28th, I hope it's a big bash. If you know of people that might be benefiting from getting involved with LIFTT, I encourage you to contact LIFTT and come to the Halloween party. I think people would be very surprised.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is when you are working with people that are seeking help, this includes all kinds of disabilities. It's not just someone who needs a wheelchair or someone who needs a modification on their house. It's also the invisible disabilities that a lot of people, they might have a child that's been diagnosed with ADHD or with panic attacks, and they might be surprised to know. Is that correct? That
it is. We offer services to various disabilities, all types of disability, to those people who are dealing with those. The age range is from birth to death. People of any age, any need, any struggle. I tell everybody, excuse me, even if you're not sure we can help you, please call us, because what happens oftentimes is that we find that they call for one specific need, but in talking with them, we find more things that we can help them with, and that maybe they didn't even realize were services that are offered, or places, resources we can refer them to. Oftentimes they don't realize what is all available, or that maybe they needed this particular help or had this particular need. So always call and get started with us, and once we start talking, we can figure out, there's always, sometimes, a lot of times there's more than just what they think, the one purpose they thought they needed services for. So
That's a good point.
yeah.
What is the very best thing you can see about your success story? What is the very best thing?
The very best thing I can see about my success story, I think, would just be, it's empowering. It's empowering to have a gift and to be able to use that gift. It's empowering to be, I don't know, I feel like the art I love because I can reach out. That's something I enjoy. It's a way that I can relax, and do my thing, and maybe other people enjoy it too. My job at LIFTT is something I enjoy because I contribute to my community, and I like knowing that I've made a difference for people. And so I feel like my success story is, there's many, many things, and it's great. LIFTT has brought me so much knowledge, confidence. It's really opened my eyes to people and what they struggle with, what their barriers are, what inspires them. And it's been very enlightening to work there, and I'm very pleased that I've had that opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. I have to ask you the same thing, Garrett. What do you consider the best part of your success story? What has it done for you?
The best part of my success stories is it allows me to accept who I am and spread the message to other people.
And feel good about yourself.
Absolutely.
Clearly. Do you really, do you think you'll be with LIFTT another 12 years?
I'm hoping so.
That's great. We're just about out of time. Is there anything else you would like to add to today's success stories?
I think we've covered a lot of it. Hey, if you need us, if you know somebody who you think might need our services, please call us.
Yeah, call. Can you give us that number again?
259-5181.
Anything you'd like to add, Garrett?
Anything I would like to add? Are you comfortable with me asking when your birthday is?
I'm very comfortable.
Okay.
Do I have to give the year?
Well, if you want to.
3/23/1954.
1954. Yeah, that's the same year that Steve Woodard was born.
Amazing. I wish we would have started this at the beginning of the program. We could be talking all this time. That's cool. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I'm going to look you up in about 4 years.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's been my pleasure to talk with Tonya Thomas and Garrett Gaustad.
Yeah.
Both work at LIFTT, Living Independently for Today and Tomorrow, talking about success stories. And I wish you the best of success as you continue. It's just been a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Please join us again. I'm Kathleen Benoit, and this is Living Well in Montana. We'll see you soon.